When the earth shakes, it doesn't just destroy cities. Sometimes it reveals secrets buried for centuries. Massive earthquakes have the power to split mountains, crack open streets, and uncover things no one was meant to find. Hidden structures, ancient remains, objects that challenge history itself. In this video, we uncover the top 10 unexplained finds discovered after earthquakes. Mysterious discoveries that left experts searching for answers. These are real events, real seismic disasters, and discoveries that changed what we thought we knew. Welcome to DailyCam TV.
28th, 2025, central Myanmar was hit by a massive 7.7 magnitude earthquake. It caused a lot of destruction, toppling buildings and roads, but it also did something unexpected. It opened up the ground near a place called Inwa, an old royal capital. People in the area had noticed bits of old stairways poking out of the earth back in 2009, so archaeologists suspected there might be something buried there. Well, the quake basically ripped the earth apart in some spots. Suddenly, entire ruins were sitting there in plain sight. Myanmar's Department of Archaeology went in to investigate. It had been a royal building. From the style and layout, it looked like it could have belonged to the last royal family of Burma, who ruled from 1752 to 1885. They are being careful and say more digging is needed before they can be sure. Still, the earthquake didn't just damage the area, it literally tore open centuries of ground and gave researchers a chance to see how Burmese royalty built their spaces, used them, something that had been hidden for hundreds of years. Croatia, a 2020 earthquake caused serious damage to the town hall, which was over 100 years old. When renovation crews came in to fix it, they brought archaeologists along to check the foundations, and that decision turned out to be really lucky. In the basement, under a street called Roman Street, they found something no one knew was there, a buried Roman theater called an odeon. The theater has a semicircular layout with 3 rows of stone blocks forming the orchestra area. This was a proper performance space, not just a pile of rubble. The Ministry of Culture confirmed it was built for music, speeches, and other cultural events, just like other Roman theaters. The discovery completely changed the renovation plans, of course. Now visitors can see parts of the theater through glass. Everyone knows Pompeii was buried by Mount Vesuvius in 79 CE, but at a site called Casti Amanti, also known as the House of the Chaste Lovers, archaeologists found skeletons that tell a slightly different story. 2 people didn't die from the volcanic eruption, they died from an earthquake. A wall collapsed on them while they were inside, crushing them before the heavy volcanic debris even arrived. The bodies were found under a section of the building that had given way during the shaking. The building had been under repair at the time, which is probably why the men were inside. So Pompeii's last moments weren't just about lava and ash. There was also seismic activity happening at the same time. And in this case, the earthquake killed people before the volcano finished burying the city. There's a site called La Gia Ruins, sometimes called the Eastern Pompeii. Preserves the remains of people and buildings wiped out by natural disasters thousands of years ago. Archaeologists have been digging there since the 80s, and they found skeletons of people who died in an ancient earthquake, including a woman and a child huddled together inside what used to be a house. La Gia covers multiple periods from the late Neolithic into the early Bronze Age. At the ruins, archaeologists have found homes and skeletons that were wiped out by an earthquake thousands of years ago. Even recently in 2023, a 6.2 magnitude quake hit and damaged parts of the museum. February 6, 2023, a massive earthquake tore through southern Turkey, leveling large parts of Hatay province. In the city of Antakya, while workers were clearing rubble from a collapsed house, they discovered an underground room with a curved ceiling that had been buried for about 1,500 years. It dates back to the late antique period, around the 5th or 6th century. Archaeologists think it might have been a small underground chapel or a tomb, but they're still figuring that out. Around the same area, other remnants from the same period have also been found, including mosaics with Greek inscriptions, all turning up during foundation work after quakes. Back in 373 BCE, an earthquake hit the northern Peloponnese near the Gulf of Corinth and wiped out a city called Helike almost instantly. The quake set off a tsunami, the ground sank in places, and the whole city slipped into a coastal lagoon. Ancient writers would describe it, saying you could see ruins just under the water, temples and houses gone in a single night. After that, the city pretty much faded from memory, but in modern times, archaeologists really wanted to find Helike. In 2001, a team led by Greek archaeologist Dora Katsinopoulou and US physicist Steven Soter finally located it. They spent years doing surveys and drilling near a village called Rizomilos, and eventually, buried walls, pottery, and other remains of buildings started to appear, sitting under 2 to 4 meters of sediment, basically what used to be a lagoon. And the mud at the bottom preserved the ruins almost perfectly, keeping walls and pottery just as they were for more than 2,000 years. The destroyed buildings, broken walls, and scattered pottery all match what you'd expect if a city suddenly sank from a quake and tsunami. At Heracula Sintica in southwestern Bulgaria, archaeologists found something rare: people frozen in place by an earthquake. In the southwestern corner of the city's forum, buried under the collapsed roof of an old water storage room, they discovered 6 skeletons. The roof had collapsed, the walls had fallen, and people had been buried right where they were standing or sheltering. What's especially interesting is that the skeletons tell personal stories. For example, one was a man with a rare congenital condition, but he lived to early adulthood, so the community clearly cared for him. It's one thing to find, a collapsed building, but it's another to find the people who were inside at the exact moment, sitting for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years under rubble. Issyk-Kul in northeastern Kyrgyzstan is one of the world's deepest saltwater lakes. Under the shallow area of the northwest shore, though, you'll find the remains of a medieval city that went underwater after a major earthquake in the 15th century. Russian and Kyrgyz archaeologists surveyed the site and found pieces of the old city scattered under the water: broken brick, stone buildings, fallen wooden beams, a giant millstone. The graveyard, where the graves were all facing Mecca, the most sacred city in Islam. This was a full city, and a spot that suggests it was a stop along the Silk Road, where traders and travelers passed through. But when a huge earthquake hit, the ground near the lake would have sank, letting the water rush in and swallow the city. Researchers compare it to Pompeii, but not because of the volcano, it's just because the disaster basically froze the city in place. Buildings, streets, and necropolis all stayed where they were, buried under the water. In northern Iraq, there's a site called Kemune, thought to be the ancient city of Zakiku. Hundreds of years ago, it was a proper city, a place where people lived and traded, but around 1350 BCE, a massive earthquake hit and flattened it. For a long time, it sat completely underwater, but in 2018, a severe drought dropped the water levels and the ruins popped back up. Archaeologists rushed in. They found parts of a palace still standing about 7 meters high. They even uncovered clay tablets with letters and records written by the people who lived there. The original city paperwork, basically. Before the earthquake, the city had been alive and bustling, but then the ground shook, the buildings would collapsed, and the city was buried, first by the quake and then again by the rising water of the reservoir. Now every time it's exposed, it gives researchers this look at how people built and ran a city thousands of years ago, and how quickly everything can be wiped out by nature. In Israel, archaeologists uncovered the ruins of a massive palace at a site called Tel Kabri. It was suddenly destroyed around 1700 BCE. It was built by the Canaanites, the people living in that area thousands of years ago, long before the Bible stories, long before Israel existed as a kingdom. They built cities, they traded goods, and grew crops. This was their world. And the palace wasn't small. It was one of the biggest buildings around at the time. Inside there were huge storage rooms holding more than 100 large wine jars. It tells you people running this place had money and some power, and when archaeologists dug it up, they found a long crack cutting through the palace, packed with fallen stone and brick. Floors were buckled, walls were leaning, the brick ceilings had collapsed, but here's what they didn't find. There were no weapons, no burned areas, no signs anyone attacked it.
Let us know in the comments which of these clips was your favorite. In the meantime, remember to like and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.